Hey folks, Thursday the 18th of August, and here we go for another spin around the merry-go-round on these markets. FOMC minutes out last night, really alluding to a Fed that can and will be tighter if they want to be. Now, we had that meeting pre, soft CPI data that followed and PPI data that followed. The Fed, however, has always said that they really want to look at PCE as their main piece of data. And so that's going to be coming next week. So, the cliffhangers continue to set up in the near term future. How did the market interpret this last night? Well, we had initial bids and an initial dovishness interpreted by the markets, and that was completely then unwound as the rest of the session went on. And, while we did breach above sort of levels that were containing the top of, say, the Dow and the S&P, most of yesterday, we then, a quick flush above and came back. The Bund getting hammered down again this morning, coming into some pretty decent support around 153.40s. T-note, similar action. The dollar did come off on the minutes last night. It was definitely an interesting event for us to cover, which we did live in the Discord room. So listen, getting over to the charts, what can we look for today? We're really just going to look at the S&P. We're going to look at the dollar, and we'll look at the VIX as well, right? And then a bit of Bitcoin. So starting off with the S&P. We're sitting in front of what I think are really good targets, and it's in this downtrend here we can see the all-time highs back to and then the highs in March, and then just this sets us up here for 43.47's half in and around here, target to the upside. Do we need to reverse down on 42 46s here, find some support? Yeah, I think so, and then get on up here. So you can kind of see why Michael Burry, he was actually selling his portfolio here back in March, and the market really only digesting that news literally about 2 days ago. So you can see why Michael Burry was pretty smart to get out of his positioning there, and of course we did come into a negative 25% off the highs on the SPOOs down here, right? But we've come back. Are we going to trade in here and then start another bout of selling, or can we wipe this out? So we're going to be, to the upside. And so we're going to be watching this whole area here in the SPOOs very, very carefully. And one way that we like to monitor that, the sentiment of risk, or people buying more puts or calls is, of course, the VIX. Now, this isn't the cleanest chart you have ever seen, but what we have been trading on and making money on in Duggan Capital is the bear flag breakdown. So we broke down here. These are weekly bars. The week of the 1st of August, actually before that, last week in July, we broke down on this bear flag and pulled back first week in August and then sold down for 2 weeks. Okay, so that's had us drift back up on equities, all right? And so we kind of monitor this more so on like a 15-minute chart. Now, the important thing to note is on the overnight going from Tuesday into Wednesday, look at this gap up here. This is a gap up on the VIX of 15%. It's actually 14.7% gap up. People buying more puts than calls. So downside protection. And you can see how that's brought us back up in the VIX. So started to close a little bit of this gap here last night over the the FOMC minutes, and then we've just regained that to hold pretty much above the electronic opening price on VIX. So we'll be monitoring this as we go through the rest of today's session to see are we gonna have liquidation of those puts, or are we gonna see increased buying on those puts? And that's really how we can get very good entries on equities, especially if we're looking for a continuation up or down. All right, looking at the dollar. Yeah, the dollar here is continuing with the rampage to the upside yesterday from dipping down. You can see last night dipping down to that 105.0204s. And then I think we can. I think this week we can push above 107s. But if we are going to see continued upside in equities, maybe we need to see the dollar sit back down here to 103s and come back down to trend here at 102s. So I just want people to be aware of the Dixie, and not only how much of a factor it plays on, well, obviously the euro and general risk sentiment, but also the impact it has on oil. So this here is a chart that is a spread between front month futures WTI to spot cash Dixie in Dixie, right? And we're seeing since March, the oil has just weakened off of quite a decent peak there on the spread of plus 32, and we're now trading negative 18s. So this is, when this chart goes up, it means oil is stronger than Dixie. When this chart goes down, it means that Dixie is stronger than oil. And you can see here, Dixie is stronger than oil. And we're breaking some really decent trends here on the spread. So just something important to have in your toolbox if you are going to be trading WTI. Talking with a trader in Australia this morning who's quite long on oil, just looking to buy more, and I was just recommending to have that spread chart up to kind of time a couple of entries there for continual buying of oil. All right, so what else can we see? Bitcoin. Unfortunately, it's not looking great. It's not looking great. Now, I'm sure the crypto fiends are going to be out in force. Well, not that they care about what I have to say. But let's go to the weekly bars here on crypto. Now, does this look like a chart you would want to buy? Answer is no. All right. Yeah, with a tight risk profile, no. This looks like we need to come back, test on trend before we kind of go for the 27,650s up above. I do think we will trade the 27,650s for a little rebound of the selling that we saw in kind of mid-June here. But I think you want to be buying this as close down to this weekly uptrend that you can get, which is going to coming into play in around the S3 today on CME Bitcoin futures 21,423s. All right, so I'm not seeing a huge amount of support for Bitcoin here, especially under this very strong dollar. All right. I've added the CME Ethereum contract here as well. I am a big fan of Ethereum. Weekly bars. It would be nice if we can get a subdued dollar for the next couple of weeks. I think Ethereum is going to do quite well, and we'll get back to 2152s per coin here. So that's a little bit of Ethereum. And that's, I think, about it for today. We have now released the Duggan Capital trading course for the ladder and time and sales. It's live right now, so please do go and check that out on the courses section of our website. That is the definitive training, I think, for anyone looking to get into scalping, get more precise with their entries, and being able to actually, if you want to learn how to read the ladder and time and sales in real time and enhance your training or trading, this is really what the course for you. And please do go and check it out. I think there's quite a few traders already signing up to that right now. So have a great session, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Cheers.